could shed some insights into the local currency and as to why we're seeing quite a bit of strength, given the fact that the equity market is losing ground. We are still seeing a buying of South African assets. Where is this money flowing into?
Eleni, the markets really today are being driven by the currency, and the currency strength has really, it's three factors we're speculating is really contributing to the rand strength. One, we're seeing the very high oil prices, and that is leading to speculation that we could see that hamper developed market growth. So we're seeing, and we're obviously seeing with some mixed housing results out of the States, we're seeing a weaker dollar coming off today, and that's really contributing there. There could be a bit of return to some safe haven status to the rand, with the Middle East continuing, with the Libya scenario continuing there. And thirdly, we think possibly that the Reserve Bank hasn't been as aggressive in terms of buying rands, selling rands. So therefore, just really not helping the rand, and we're seeing that strength coming through.
Well, Yolanda, what's also fascinating to note is if you look at the rand's performance relative to various crosses, and also the way that the Australian dollar in particular has been performing, we're actually tracking the gains that we've seen in the Aussie dollar. Perhaps our gains are relative to what we're seeing on the commodity front, because we are a commodity-linked currency. Could that offer some kind of explanation as to why we're seeing rand strength?
Correct, Eleni. It has been in favour of commodity-based currencies, and also just really the focus on growth really dissipating, or speculation that growth will be coming back from developed markets.
Let's touch on the fundamental factors that are driving the South African market as well. Interesting to note, we have seen a mixed bag of results, but mostly positive numbers that have fed through. To what extent is this going to drive the markets? I mean, just looking at the likes of Liberty, where we saw a 7-fold increase in headline earnings per share, and also just keeping in mind the likes of Massmart also delivered some fairly good numbers as well. Is this going to drive the market perhaps into next week?
Eleni, stocks have come back in the last couple of days, some obviously with speculation that they're close to fair value. Liberty was a fairly good result. I think there are a couple of things that disappointed in those results. We are seeing them a little bit higher on the day. We are fairly cautious over Liberty. Their dividend payments remain fairly low, and their new business is not as exciting as the market would like it. Murray's, I mean, we can see that story has just been, that stock has really come under the hammer this year. We see it down close to, if not more than 43%. Construction stocks are lower. Whether it's close to fair value is however quite concerning. We're seeing our stocks lower for the last couple of days, even though we're seeing the S&P pointing towards a positive day. I think investors would be cautious to enter stocks at these levels. Our market's really looking for some kind of direction, and also we're going to have to see how the rand plays out in the next couple of days if we're going to see continued rand strength.
Yolanda, it's also quite fascinating to see that the London Stock Exchange has halted trade. We're seeing technical difficulty coming through on that front. The last number that we saw coming through was the FTSE 100 up around 0.25%. Perhaps not big bad news, I would say, given the fact that we've had a very volatile week. Any news when we could see the LSE resuming trade, and what impact that's going to have on investor sentiment once trade does resume?
Eleni, they have come out to say that they're going to resume trading, however not really giving it time. Obviously, that really reduces the flows that we do see. It definitely impacts our market, and we did see Anglo's Billies all positive abroad. Obviously, with our stocks moving lower, it will be difficult to say. Obviously, they would need to open fairly soon, so that we could at least get some afternoon trade through and get some direction or if any direction. I think we're going to be looking through in terms of where the markets are really going to be going. GDP numbers out this afternoon, and that's really what the market's looking for today.
Yolanda,
the States.
And the States, of course. Yolanda, let's quickly touch on some of the numbers that we saw in South Africa this week. Murray and Roberts posting a first half loss. The last time we saw a first half loss coming through from this construction company was around a decade ago. Also news that the CEO is going to be stepping down at the end of June, and we've seen massive losses coming through for Murray's since the beginning of the year, and the construction industry as a whole really in the doldrums at this point. Would this be a play for you right now, given the negativity, or would you still be holding off?
Eleni, Murray has been one of those stocks that literally just when you thought it can't come off anymore, it just has. Their trading statement out this week has been fairly positive. If you actually look at what the company said, obviously the CEO and the CFO are leaving after 11 years with the company. They have reiterated that their succession plan has been thought out. So we're going to have to see how that really kind of plays out. They have said they've cleaned out, and they are saying there's potentially about 50 billion worth of new business. However, investors are just not confident about the construction sector. We have been saying that the construction sector is possibly at the bottom. It unfortunately looks like we could see some further downside.
Yeah.
But Murray, fair value at this point, it's lost 43%. The market doesn't seem to think so. So we really do caution investors really looking to get into the stock at these levels.
Fantastic, Yolanda. Thank you so much for joining me today.